I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? I will ever be able to sing. Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing, and I gave it up. I took my old body and went out in the morning and sang. Please rise for the opening hymn.
Spirit of love, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the thrills of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Spirit of heart, all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. I don't know if I shared this, but the history of this song for me is when I used to gather in Madison, Wisconsin, when I was becoming a UU 23 years ago. We would sing that song every week. So as you all are singing so beautifully this morning, it took me back to being with the young adult and campus ministry folks there, also thinking about my own roots that hold me close. Again, good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge. My name is Reverend Chris Long. your minister of congregational life. My pronouns of choice are he, him, his. If you are visiting us for the first time, good morning. We are glad you are here. Thank you for joining us for worship. For this is a community of hope which strives to live spiritually and religiously into the world where all souls may thrive into their full potential. Amen? And as we honor our sacred, yes, aching planet, please do join us and members and friends of the church in the reception area for refreshments and coffee after the service. To those joining us on live stream, good morning and welcome to you. We are glad you too are here and continue to join us in this way. If possible, drop us a note in the chat to say hello and let us know which day of the week, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, when you're watching the service, so we can get a sense of when people are joining us. Today's announcements. Did anybody notice the new doors that are on our... No? Nobody noticed the new doors? Oh, there's clapping happening in the foyer, or in the narthex. That new doors are in. If you are trying to use your old keys on those doors over there, they will no longer work. However, you do still have key usage for the sanctuary doors. And as we noted, if you need your key changed to get your key code, you need to fill out a form. And sadly, if you fill it out today, it'll take maybe 72 hours to get it. So if you need it to enter the building between now and then, except through the sanctuary, Allison will need some time to put that in the system. Please also be aware that you'll get a 24-hour notice when the key codes and the key fob system will go into activity when those sanctuary doors are squared away. Make sense? Today, for our middle hour, we will be having from 10:15 to 11:15, we'll be having middle hour fun. Yeah, see, Kathy, I told you they would respond. No, I didn't say that. Adults are invited to join our youth group in the fellowship hall for a playful celebration of Labor Day involving boats, water, and unicorns. Children will celebrate Bubble Day in room 2. Today, there will be a meet and greet with the ministers and a few members of the membership team. So if you're brand new, you're considering becoming a member, please do join us in the middle hour in room 6. We'll answer questions. There might be some extra pralines to go around. I'm just saying. Well, we're not bribing, but if you like pralines, we may have some really fresh ones today. Next Sunday, what's happening next Sunday, everyone? Who is Nathan? We don't know anymore, somebody said. Our senior minister, Reverend Nathan Ryan, will be returning from his 4-month sabbatical. Let's welcome him and his family back with open arms and hearts, and remembering that they too will need to ease back into the life of the church, even if they have a lot of energy. How many of you received the postcards this week in the mail regarding the Jamboree, the Welcome Jamboree? That'll be Saturday the 16th from 5 to 8 p.m. It will be concluded with a drum circle. Please remember to bring your own water bottles to save our environment and lawn chairs so we can have abundant seating because we're expecting you, your friends who you want to show off the church to. That will be held rain or shine. It's also of note that there will be rides provided to and from the event for those who may not like to drive in the dark. The stewardship team is offering rides, so you need to connect with them if you need rides so you can ensure that you come and have a safe way to get home. A gentle reminder, the blood drive was to be held today, but that's been moved to September 17th. Our quarterly blood drive has been moved from today to September 17th. So you can donate. If you can donate, please do consider doing so. Also on the 17th, another of our preacher pack will have our 6th member of the preacher pack preaching, and that will be Dr. Cynthia Bryant will be bringing a word that day. That's all Cynthia gets? Come on, y'all. Yeah, thank you. Again, good morning and welcome. We are glad each and all of you are here today. The sharing of stones ritual here at the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge is a time in our service when we take pause. We take pause to come forth to share stones as we honor the joys and sorrows of our lives with this community. Visitors are always welcome to take part in this ritual. Today we have 2 cards to sign. One is for Rebecca Cummings as she continues her healing journey and has requested extra prayers as she digs into some of her physical therapies that are requiring a lot of strength. Our next card is for Noah Shaw. He too continues his treatments and towards healing and needs our care. So please do stop by the congregational care team in the reception area to sign those cards and to say hello to whoever is volunteering at the table today. Those who would like to take part in this ritual, please come forth, lining up along the east or west walls of the sanctuary. Our sharing of stones ritual begins. Let us say together our chalice lighting words. With hope to make this a better world, we light this flame. Its light is a symbol of the power of love.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue.
Dear ones, as we gather this morning, please turn the mic down just a little bit, please. As we gather this morning, there is truly a positive buzz in our church community these last many weeks. Even as we know some amongst us are beset with hardships, medical crises, and other crises, too much to even share here. It's also true there is much going on in the world around us. Hurricanes, climate change, social and political unrest the world over, and clamorings for war nearly at every turn. So here is where we come each and every week when possible to take pause from it all for rest, reflection, and renewal. I invite you now to join me in the spirit of quiet, meditative prayer, silence. This morning's prayer. Spirit of life, universe, Gaia, God. Let us take pause in our service to honor the indigenous communities whose lands we now inhabit, the Homa and the Bayagula peoples. in this continued moment of quiet reflection, let's invite our individual and collective ancestors into this space and into this moment. Even as we are in full anticipation mode for Labor Day, LSU football, the return of our senior minister from his 4-month sabbatical in but a few days. Let us take pause now to breathe, to be together, to honor with gratitude, even through the hard times, that there can be hope, beauty, and joy. May we know that this is a place to share your joys and your concerns and worries as we engage the abundant, loving community that is here and that is growing. Ashe. Shalom. Salam. Blessed be, and amen. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our next hymn, Healing River.
O healing river, send down your waters, send down your waters upon the land. O healing river, send down your waters and wash the blood from off the sand. The husband is marching, this land is burning, no seed is growing in the barren land. O healing river, send down your waters. O healing river, send waters down. Let this awake and flourish. Let deep roots flourish. Let tall stalks rise. O healing river, send down your waters. O healing river, from out the skies.
Pastors are role models for the congregation, but not models of perfection. What they model is confession, dependency, mystery, and at sometimes comedy, and always the pressing determination of the thirsty to find a stream that flows through the desert. In other words, they model the sufficiency of divine grace.
In this past week's midweek video, I posed the question, what does Labor Day mean to you? I'm hoping a few of us have had at least a few moments to reflect on this question, as the meaning and purpose for Labor Day is ever alive in our country and in this city in new and impactful ways. From the screenwriters and actors strike impacting television many of us watch and enjoy, ensuring not just the most famous receive monies for their labor, to major companies such as UPS, who are still in a once in several generations union negotiation that could still have the potential for a walkout strike that can bring our economy even more to its knees. And even closer to home, the complicated and truly impactful bus drivers and cafeteria workers of the East Baton Rouge school system who are rising up to demand their just dues in a city and state where there is, I think we know this, there is more than enough money to go around. Again, what does Labor Day mean to you? Equally important, what does Labor Day mean to us as Unitarian Universalists or those seeking to be in spiritual, religious community with us, where equality, equity, justice, and compassion anchor the very core of what we believe to be true for all? The title and theme for today's worship service, Keep On, Keepin' On, Sabbatical in Review. Have we been on a sabbatical, y'all? Y'all been on a sabbatical? Anybody? I'm hoping to have us explore just a little in our worship space today what we have been doing as a church community during these last 3 months, 25 days. I don't know what the hour is, but it's drawing near, since Reverend Nathan and his family took a well-earned and well-deserved sabbatical. First, I must start with a soul-felt thank you. Thank you to each and all of you for your unending support of me and my leadership during this sacred time. To the staff, to the board, and to you, Jeff Gauger, our current board president, a special thank you. And to all of you, even those who are joining in online, thank you, thank you, thank you. For it has been a time when the church is still trying to discern who we are post-pandemic, when some of us are still having to think about if we will return to the church with all of the changes to our old church. When some have found that online services meet their needs better for any number of reasons. They live now out of city, out of state, or they have health issues or concerns that they cannot physically get here as they once may have, to name a few. We have kept on keeping on, amen? It's also true that many have joined our church from taking in services online, and in a time when our social, political climates have so many saying, we want and need a spiritual community, a church where I know I can belong. We again have kept on keeping on. As your lead minister that started my second year of service here on July 18th of this year, during the sabbatical, I'm humbled to state just how much I have been able to learn about myself, about many more of you, and just what it truly takes to be a lead or solo minister full-time in a church with nearly 400 active members. I have been stretched in spiritual, physical, and administrative ways, only once to a deep bending, of course not breaking place. It's also been true my mind, body, and soul have experienced levels of fatigue, even if it has been a largely very positive experience being your lead minister. One thing is for certain, being a lead or senior minister, Jesus, Lord, have mercy, ouch, it is hard, sacred work. Yet, overall, I have learned just how much you love and are dedicated, many of you are, to this church and to its potential for more thriving. Again, Reverend Dr. M. Craig Barnes' words from our reading. He wrote in part, "Pastors are role models for a congregation, but not models of perfection." Even though I just had my stole fixed so I could be more perfect. Somebody did that up on the chancel, but I'm not going to tell you that. So, what they model is confession, dependency, mystery, and sometimes comedy, and always the pressing determination of the thirsty to find a stream that flows through the desert. In other words, they model the sufficiency of divine grace. As we may remember, when Reverend Nathan was leaving, he invited us, as he was taking his departure, to engage in tweaks, no changes to the systems of the church while he was away. I can say with some certainty that's exactly what y'all have been doing. They have been tweaks made aplenty, and we've been uplifted throughout this we will be uplifted throughout the remainder of the service. Friends, we have truly kept on keeping on, and may we continue to do the same. This church is a very generous church in oh so many ways. One of the many ways of our generosity and with humility is that we share 1/2 of our monthly offerings with a local organization that is extending our mission and vision into the community in ways we are just not able to collectively. This month, our collected offering will be shared with the Gardeer Initiative. As some of you may already well know, Gardeer Initiative is a community coalition that is working together to build a safe and healthy community for its residents. The Gardeer Initiative and its mission is to provide children and families with fundamental services that are not available to them. Services such as community connections, financial services, legal services, and a little free library. Visitors, please feel no obligation to give. We at this church are building on our financial giving as a spiritual practice, extending our values into the community in yet another way. This morning's offering will be humbly accepted and shared in the same spirit. Please, if you can, give generously. Will the ushers please come forward? Thank you, thank you, thank you. As some of you may know, Jeff Gallagher became our president. Was it May 1st? Became the president of the congregation on the board of the congregation on May 1st of this year, a mere 7 days before Reverend Nathan would take his sabbatical. Can you imagine the pressure that would leave on anyone? Well, Jeff did it with vigor, and I'm humbled to say we had a meeting each week except this last one when I truly needed a different break, because I had a cold and I'm still lingering in that space. But I would like to invite Jeff up to share the pulpit, or share the mic, as it were, to share some of his reflections. Jeff, let's give it up for Jeff.
I'd like to say that Reverend Chris deceived me.
Don't tell him the whole story.
After I preached in June as part of the preacher pack, he said, that was so good, you should do it. You'll do it again soon. And I said, I'm an amateur. I preach like once every 5 years, if that. And then he, in the order of service, called these remarks sermon part number 2. So there you go. Reverend Chris asked me to share as president this year of this congregation what we've accomplished in the past 4 to 5 months. Reverend Chris didn't intend that what we have accomplished means solely what he accomplished or what I accomplished. The Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge is an institution, yes, but way, way, way before it's an institution, it's a community. And a community is, by definition, a we. And we means you. The multitude of souls who make this community go, who undertake the work of mutual care, who extend our values into the community through social justice work. So we is all y'all. Here goes what you have accomplished. You celebrated with members and friends of this church as they married here twice recently. You joined in a new child dedication in this very space, and you celebrated the milestone of students marking their graduation from high school. You provided the comfort of your presence and perhaps a loving embrace during celebrations of life for members and friends who have left us. You joined our recent in-gathering service and celebrated its important theme that you are enough. You wrote and rewrote and polished and introduced this church's first ever plan for welcoming new members into our community and for guiding all of us, newcomers and old-timers alike, into fuller participation. You embraced that document's unequivocal invocation of radical hospitality as a foundational value. And you put that ethos to work, welcoming visitors, and yes, celebrating in this space as visitors became members. You committed in their presence to supporting them in this community. You restored name tags as a regular Sunday practice. You answered the call to serve as worship associates, to provide pastoral care, and to ensure that the broader church community knows about those among us needing congregational care. You provided flowers for Sunday services. You led songs, thank you, Wayne, for Sunday services. You braved the mysteries of the treehouse to provide technical support for Sunday services, YouTube live streams, weddings, and memorial services. You agreed to serve on a reconstituted and highly energized Healthy Congregation Committee with a mission to help us all live our values when we are together, and in time to facilitate the crafting of a congregational covenant. You shepherded the installation of new and better locks and developed a rollout plan that ensured broad access for members. Thank you, Melanie. After earlier securing tens of thousands of dollars in grant funding to pay for that work. You met with dozens of members and friends to collect feedback about their sense of safety while at church, what worries them a lot, what worries them a little, something else. You sang in the choir, in the gospel choir, in solos and duets. You served as Sunday morning ushers. You staged a remarkably successful auction, successful in that it raised nearly $30,000, and successful in that it brought us together for fun. You attended the auction, you provided auction items, you bought auction items. You taught classes for children and adults. You completed maintenance tasks, often without even being asked, around the church campus. You attended classes to learn how to use the new church database software called Breeze. You organized branches meetings, welcomed branches members into your homes, led branches discussions, provided snacks for branches gatherings. You wrote sermons and developed whole services around them as members of the Preacher Pack, bringing lay energy and thoughtfulness to our Sunday gatherings. You gave money to support this church's work, enough of it that through the first 7 months of 2023, our income from pledges and other sources exceeded what was budgeted. Exceeded it by a whisker, but exceeded it by golly. You showed up for Holy Grill to serve meals to people who need sustenance and a communal setting in which to dine. And you provided Sunday morning coffee and treats and food for other special occasions. You showed up to declare your support for our LGBTQ+ members, friends, and neighbors in marches, in rallies, and in other settings. At a time, damn it, when these dear members of our beloved human family need allies, warriors, and safe harbor. I've surely missed some of what you've done because we have done so much. And you, Reverend Chris, in these past 4 months alone, while working alone, you have ministered to us, affirmed us, celebrated us, and salved our hurts. You've held us in your cheerful care while also wearing the burdens of administering church operations. I speak for many when I say I'm thrilled you found us and glad we had the eminent good sense to welcome you. A final note related to COVID, not about COVID, related to COVID. That blasted virus jarred UCBR. It stole a few of us away. And it interrupted attendance, changed our weekly rhythms, stretched and tested our bonds to church and to one another. It sapped our vibrancy and caused some familiar long-time practices to end. We felt it emotionally and with sadness. Do you remember? I sure do, as much as I'd like to forget. We limped through 2020, sustained by the difficult and lonely work undertaken by our devoted ministers and staff, working in an empty building and from home, leading YouTube worship services in this space in front of no one. We then trudged through 2021, still hobbled and more than a little afraid about UCBR's future. We soldiered on in 2022, our impatience mixing uncomfortably with uncertainty and even with dollops of, admit it, I don't have time for this anymore. But we gained, oh so slowly and little by little, we gained. And now, you know what? And this is strictly my observation, but Reverend Chris made the mistake of giving me the microphone this morning, and I'm going to use it. It's 2023, and we are back. Back. How do I know? Our engagement has increased across a range of activities, including Sunday services. There's energy here, a crescendo of energy, lots of it. Just what we need to ensure that we restore more and to add to the new activities and approaches we've already seen. And did I mention that we are on budget? Our community lives. There's one more sign, and please don't tell Reverend Nathan when he returns in a few days. You made this community thrive and work, even during the senior minister's sabbatical. We need our ministers. Lordy, do we need our ministers? But they aren't the church. You are. Together we are. Through shared ministries with our ministers and staff, and especially with and among the we, that is all of us. UCBR is back, and you did that too. So, thank you. Thank you for all that you have done and will do. Just thank you.
See why he's got to do more sermons? I told you. Now, Kathy, shifting into the lesson for the morning.
Morning, y'all. So I have been here now for 6 years and 2 months. It feels like a lot longer than that, and it feels like it's just gone by like that, right? So I am curious, how many of y'all have been part of one of these things, one of these programs here at church? I'm going to read you a list. If it's something you've been a part of, wave at me, raise your hand, smile. In some way, let me know that you've been a part of this. If you have picked up sensory materials from the table in back on the way into worship, if you've appreciated one of the stories or the lessons that I've shared from the pulpit, if you have been to a Halloween party or an Easter egg hunt or a tree trimming party, if you have come to a social event like the outdoor fun days at Little Learners or the family dinners we had last fall or the campfires that we held as we were coming back into the building for adults and for youth and for children, if you have been part of Chalice Children or one of our other children's classes here, Superhero Academy, Ellery Church Mouse, if you've come to Sunday morning youth group, or if you have come to one of our Sunday evening youth circles, if you've been part of an OWL class, if you've taught OWL, or if you've had children who've been part of OWL, if you have had children in nursery or in childcare, if you have been part of our home ministry postcards, that's a postcard from Owl and Minnie, or a postcard for the teens, or one of our random, we're happy to let you know someone's thinking of you. If you have attended an adult class on Sunday morning, the Branches Sampler, What Does It Mean to Be You, Storytelling and Art, Ellery Church Mouse, Sacred Play for Adults. If you have been part of one of our anti-oppression study groups, if you have been part of a Branches group, all of those things are part of family ministry here at the Unitarian Church. And so some of you know that I am going on sabbatical starting on December the 1st. For some of you, that might be new information, and I'm sure there are questions, and I'm going to try to answer them. The word sabbatical comes from Shabbat, the Hebrew word for rest. The ancient Hebrews let their land rest every 7 years to help ensure its productivity. Most Unitarian Universalist churches provide their professional staff with time to renew their productivity every 5 to 7 years, ministers and religious educators as well. It's a sabbatical is a time for intentional spiritual reflection and exploration, for renewing enthusiasm, for creativity, for deepening a commitment to service and to ministry. It gives time for professional growth in ways that aren't possible in the press of activity in a typical work year. To quote the sabbatical handbook put out by Loretta, my professional organization, the Religious Educators liberal religious educators. Sabbaticals are not vacations. They are pathways to viewing vocation in new ways through fresh eyes. The goal is to return to the congregation renewed and refreshed. So what is it? What's in it for the congregation, y'all may ask? Again from Loretta. Religious educators make an intense commitment of time and energy to their congregations. Their work schedule allows for little opportunity for thoughtful enrichment, analysis, study, and evaluation. The congregation grows through the sharing of creative abilities in meeting the programming needs during the sabbatical. That's the we, y'all. That's the we Jeff was talking about. The congregation also benefits from the renewed enthusiasm of the director upon her return. So I will be gone from the day-to-day work of the church from December the 1st to April the 30th. Who, you may ask, is going to do the work? You are. We are. Volunteers. We already have team leads for some of our Sunday morning classes for children and youth. We have some of our Sunday morning adult classes covered. Branches management is transitioning to Reverend Chris this fall, supporting the branches management team. We have a new program starting in September, a family play group, and we have someone who has volunteered to manage that. I'm talking with someone else who would like to renew our family our family dinners once a month. People have volunteered for the tree trimming party. They've volunteered to maintain the postcard program and manage the sensory table in the narthex. And we are still looking for people to do some things. Site management on Sunday mornings, Easter egg hunt and party, faith and practice classes, some of the faith and exploration classes, those are adult classes. And probably most important, we need another 2 people on the sabbatical support team. Those are the folks who don't do the work, but who hold the information about what is going on, who is doing what, and how it's going. And what, you may ask, will I be doing? I will be traveling some. I will be visiting, whenever I travel, I visit other UU churches to see what they're doing, especially in this time of transition back to face-to-face church. I will spend some extended time renewing connections and strengthening connections with my family, all of whom live elsewhere. I anticipate having some time to write, to draw, to sing. I will spend some time trying to discern how to keep this work sustainable in the long run, and I will take time to explore and develop new spiritual practices that will help sustain me as I return to immerse myself in this intense and wonderful work of family ministry. It is my hope during those 5 months that I am gone that y'all will reach into yourselves and reach out to each other to sustain the work of family ministry that this church is actually really, really good at. Tweaks, not changes, love that phrase, and sustainable work. And y'all, you can do it. We can do it. Thank you.
As Kathy is making her way back to the piano, I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our next hymn, Love Will Guide Us. Love will guide us.
Love will guide us, peace has hide us, hope inside us will lead the way on
I am here for a purpose, and I need to fulfill it. I felt the echo of footsteps in my spirit, rhythmic rigor with a sense of fairness. God utters, I am your force and all awareness. What makes our little earth run? Is it tied to an inner bond with the sun? Fastidious warmth pervades the space. Some people adore the moon face. To the heavens, I felt a profound affinity. Electrons whirled in the air as pulses of activity. Amygdala was aroused by the sense of oneness. The world is fertile and dotted with goodness. I have an inner relationship with flowers, inner peace, inner graceful power. I find an inner link with birds in the sky. Freedom reigns, and they soar and fly. It absorbs the resonance and is swallowed. It goes from edge to edge and is wallowed. The natural world does seem to cohere with me, and since the dawn of man in true harmony. Ultimate vitality, feel my absolute death, bestow on me the sight of life and vivid breath. Tiny soul, you and I will live on in memory. A freed horse will forget the cart sensory. Within the sway of one's own raving vanity, truth wishes to be a layer on top of all sanity. O Lord, your glance makes me cry. Your might and wisdom soothe my sigh. And when I'm scared, I wonder if he's aware. By taking my hand, he gets my base of care. The wellspring of my fortitude and ambition, to the core of my being, there's no suspicion.
Keep on keeping on. Spiritual, religious rigor and sustainability is the title for this portion. This church, friends, is indeed back as Jeff shared with us a few minutes ago. Does it mean in any way that we are completely done with the real trauma and impacts of the pandemic or COVID, as we all know too well, that it will remain with us for a long, long time? No, it does not mean that. What I strongly feel it means is we are back and in a position to dream and to live into our wildest imaginings of what being a church, being a beacon of spiritual, religious freedom can be. For we shall be known by the company we keep, and it is time now that we thrive. Amen? I got a few smiles from bringing those words from that song in. It is time now that we thrive and lean even more fully into what being a Unitarian Universalist can mean. What might it mean as we continue to engage our personal and collective work of dismantling systems of oppression, including, but not limited to, racism, homophobia, transphobia, ageism, ableism, educational elitism, and to name a few? What will it mean? What might it mean here, especially when we continue to do this work as religious rigor, leaning as you do so beautifully with the love that pours through every cell and door and window and being of this church? What I can say from my intensive lead minister time here over the last many months is that this church, I believe, is full of healthy systems. Healthy in that the leadership of all the major programs, teams, and committees of this church are deeply committed to the ever-changing, say ever-changing, ever-evolving mission and vision of this church. All right, okay, that's amen. This church works hard and rigorously even to show each other what love means and feels like. I'm inviting us to do that same rigor in every committee around us dismantling system oppression, in our book groups. How might we anchor that work? That's the only thing that I would offer during this time is we have to lean more vigorously into each of us dismantling those systems that are in this church, as many of us already do. But what does it look like to invite new members, new friends, not from a position that we have it all figured out? Who here has it all figured out? I didn't see no hands go up. Oh, mine went up, but I didn't mean that. I certainly did not mean it. How do I know during this sacred time? I've had the honor to bear witness to the cares of and hearts of members of this church in sitting through the board retreat, my second one, that went, you would not believe it was a board retreat because we were laughing and yucking it up at one of the members' homes, eating really good food, and we ended with these 3 words on our AVOM: joy and fun. Right? This work of dismantling does not have to be all arduous, but it's so sacred and so serious. Again, how do I know? I got to be with them as they crafted the AVOM and I've been a part of pulling together a budget dreaming team for our 2024 budget. I have seen the Healthy Congregations Committee be pulled together again and began to create its own covenant, thus being able to work with each of the entities within this church over the next couple of years to figure out what our covenant will be. The safety team, let's give it up for the safety team. Not only have they been fast at work to ensure these doors are implemented in a way that considers your needs to enter the building and our safety overall, they have been hard at work crafting a draft of an overall safety plan that will be shared with you all in the coming weeks and months. The disaster relief team has been working. They have refigured to make sure that during a disaster, because we are literally 7 days from the highest point when the season, I'm not going to say the word, but when the season should be at its highest peak, and they are ready with teams of phone tree people to call in ways I have never seen. As noted, I've humbly been able to buzz into our religious education programs where education and joy were happening. I even sat in the little people's chairs. I don't know how I got up, but I did make it out of those chairs. We do have 16 branches, small group ministry groups going, and they're added to and being expanded even as we speak. The congregational care team had its first retreat ever. There were 20-some folks in there where they dug even more deeply into their relationships, asking these 2 questions. What's the best gift you ever got? And what's the best gift you've ever given? It opened the group up in ways that are still buzzing throughout this team that works hard to sustain and meet our every care through all they have done. I've met with the Pastoral Care Associates once a month, and the listening room, how many of you know the listening room is open after every service from 10:30 to 11 every Sunday, not just for our concerns, but for our joys. You want to talk about something that you have no one else to talk to about. As Jeff noted, the membership team has created and handed in May 31st the membership plan, but they're hard at work pulling together the first year of a 3-year plan, not just for new members, but for the lifespan of a membership within this church. Can we give a big applause for the Worship Guild and the Treehouse, the Preacher Pack, who have worked hard for this summer to make the worship services go, with a few more to come, as I've shared. And can we never forget the Buildings and Ground Committee that are keeping us, right? You did not know this, but the air conditioning in one of our units was shooting steam and soaking the carpet in one areas of the building, and a volunteer came and saved us who knows how much money, but they cleaned it up, put fans on the carpet that lasted a weekend. We got a huge stain, but that's not $5,000 worth of stain. So again, it is time now that we thrive. Amen? Friends, can we continue to be a wellspring of fortitude, of religious possibilities, as we are ever so near to so much amazing bodies of water, the kind of flora and fauna particular to this part of the country, and I am still getting used to the food here after 14 months. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. May we together dig more deeply and lean into as rigorously and sustainably as we can what yet may come for this church. Ashe, shalom, salam, blessed be and may it be so. I invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, Down by the Riverside.
Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna put on my traveling shoes down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna put on my traveling shoes down by the riverside, down by the riverside no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna put on my starry crown down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna put on my starry crown down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more.
Yes, friends, we here at the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge want to study war no more. We want to work to ensure that this continues to be a thriving religious, spiritual community for those who seek harbor in these hard times. Again, I cannot thank you enough for all of your support during this sabbatical time, only knowing that our vision for a better world still needs our care and attention. Go out this week, watch your LSU football game if that's a thing for you, and enjoy your day off if you have it off tomorrow, remembering the reason. Until next time, many blessings to and for you. Ashe and amen. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by